Hi, I'm Sheila Harper and I'm a member of the Newquay Cornwall Society and I run our Archaeology group. And what we actually do is we go out and look after, there's a gang of us, about 8 actually, we go out and look after our local ancient monuments and the occasional listed structure. And one of these is the old Trevemper bridge. It's a packhorse bridge that crosses the River Cornwall on the border of the boundaries between Crantock, Colon, Cubit and St Columb Minor, which is quite interesting. The bridge itself, it's still as it was probably in the 1800s. The earliest date in literature that is most known was in a book by Charles Henderson, The Cornish Bridges, and had it dating back to 1603. But luckily for us, at Crescent Kerno, our Cornwall Records Office, they have a document and it's concerning Maud Maunsell, Lady Maud Maunsell, who was a widow, and she was renting or lending land out to Sir Arundel, Lord Arundel, at Trevemper. She actually owned land at Trevinick and Trevemper Mill, and the bridge, of course, is mentioned in this document. Its date dates to 1240. Anyway, old Arundel, he had to pay Maud Maunsell 30 shillings a year and a pair of silk gloves for this rent. So we know the bridge goes back that far. There are a few mentions after the 1603, usually when it gets washed away, or a county rate had to be collected to pay for its repair. By the time the 1900s came, it was falling into disrepair, and eventually, of course, the road with the A30 has been built, and the little bridge obviously went out of disuse, except it's still there across the Cornwall. In 1925 roughly, the brand new road bridge was built across the Cornwall, and Little Trevemper Bridge parallel with it alongside, the walls began to fall down. And just before the Second World War, our old Cornwall Society, Newquay Old Cornwall Society, actually went to local council of those days and said could they have it repaired. And in fact this did happen, but it was because the war intervened, and this was done after the war. And it's got one arch, and it's actually the extent to which the high tide comes to. As I mentioned, my group actually look after the bridge, and what our job to do is to stop things like ivy and such like growing out of the walls, because the roots of the ivy, trees, etc. will destroy the bridge. And this isn't normal gardening. What we have to do, we can't pull the ivy out, we have to trim it back. And the best thing we did, one side of the bridge is actually, I would say, nearly 3 feet wide, and the central area is filled with earth, and there was a small set of 3 trees growing out of it, saplings I suppose, and the diameter of their trunks was probably about 3 inches, something like that. Anyway, these trees were 10 feet tall. We managed to saw them down, but of course we couldn't dig the trunks out because we would, the roots, pull them out because it would destroy part of the bridge. So what I did was required quite a load of copper nails and nailed them into as many areas on these trunks as possible. And it actually took about 2 years for these saplings to die. And of course then what you do is you just have to leave them to rot. Well, thankfully, this year, Cormac, who's Cornwall Council, who do their repair work for them, actually repaired the area of the bridge because there's been a crack in it for a while, and because they were doing a proper repair, they were able to take the tree trunk out. We couldn't do the repair because it meant hanging over the river, and we're not actually into building works. But anyway, I think that's Trevemper Bridge. It's well worth a visit. Just go along, sit on it and look over the side and watch. So ducks, kingfishers, butterflies. There's a little robin that always comes and visits us. We go about probably at least once a month. We have other sites that Archaeology group visit. One of our biggest sites actually is Morganporth Early Medieval Village that dates from 850 to 1050 AD, and that's 2 parts of 2 whole longhouses which we cleared from scratch and have been looking after ever since. It's a very interesting job and I thoroughly enjoy it, and I can recommend being a scrub basher. And at a later date, I will do a little talk on St Morgan Porth early medieval village because it's well worth a visit and it's very interesting. Thank you. The ducks go by, dragonflies and such like, and I'm going to cough. Sorry about that.
Right. Take a pause
Yeah.
and just go back to the ducks.
Yeah, ducks.
Hang over the side. Mention kingfishers.
Kingfishers. That was what I was trying.
Right. So go back to that and redo that little bit again.
It's all right because I've got.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, gone dry.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Hang on. Right. Okay.
So